Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Jinzo deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck is based around one of the most broken old school boss monsters, Jinzo. This deck is an extremely spicy build for Jinzo that I've included all sorts of really cool tech cards in. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Jinzo. Jinzo is a crazy, powerful boss monster that can actually turn off a third of your opponent's deck because while this card's on the field, all trap cards are negated, which is such a cool ability, and I absolutely love this boss monster. We then play 3 copies of Jinzo the Machine Menace. Jinzo the Machine Menace is definitely a 3-of in the build that has the ability, if a trap card is face up on the field or in either graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, its level becomes 6 until the end of the turn. And during the main phase, quick effect, you can tribute this card to special summon a Jinzo from your hand or graveyard, then you can destroy all trap cards that your opponent controls, and if they're set, reveal them, which is such a cool ability about this card to basically just destroy all their trap cards. We then play a single copy of Psychic Mega Cyber. This card is just a great 1-of in the deck to be able to play. It's pretty easy to get out on your side of the field, and if your opponent controls more spells and traps than you do, you can special summon this card from your hand. And when this card declares an attack on an opponent's effect monster, while you control Jinzo, you can actually tribute this card and place that opponent's monster face up in the spell and trap card zone as a continuous trap, so you can start summoning out your copy of Jinzo the Machine Menace. We then play 3 copies of Psychic Bounder. Psychic Bounder is one of the best normal summons in the entire deck, and is basically the Stratos of the deck. That if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Jinzo or a spell or trap that specifically lists that card in its text from your deck to your hand, which is such a cool ability to help you get to your Jinzo cards. It also has the ability that when another monster you control is attacked by an opponent's monster before damage calculation, you can destroy both the attacking monster and this card, which is a really cool effect. We then play 3 copies of Jinzo Jector. Jinzo Jector is really neat in this build, especially with the tech cards that I'm playing. I really like this card because it has the ability, this card's name becomes Jinzo while on the field or in the graveyard, and you can tribute this card to add a copy of a Jinzo monster from your deck to your hand. Accept another copy of this card, then reveal all set cards in your opponent's spell and trap card zone, and if there's any traps among them, you can special summon Jinzo from your hand, or Jinzos from your hand up to the number of trap cards revealed by this card's ability, which is great because you can summon multiple Jinzos off this card's effect, which is so cool. We then play 3 copies of Psychic Processor. Psychic Processor is a crazy powerful card that we just got out of Phantom Nightmare. And it's actually one of the reasons I actually rebuilt this deck, because this card is so crazy. It has the ability that you can banish this card that you control to special summon up to 2 machine, psychic, and or Cyverse monsters from your hand, and they can attack directly. Period. Meaning they stay on the field, which is so crazy to be able to summon out 2 copies of Jinzo to your side of the field that can attack directly. And it also has the ability during the standby phase of the next turn after this card was banished, you can add this banished card back to your hand so you can do it all over again on the next turn, which is absolutely amazing. This card is definitely a 3-of in the deck, and it's one of the most powerful cards in the entire build to help you get your copies of Jinzo out on your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Jinzo Returner. Jinzo Returner is a really good 1-of that can actually attack your opponent's life points directly, and when it's sent to the grave, you can special summon a Jinzo from your graveyard, but destroy it during the end phase. We then play 3 copies of Assault Synchron. Assault Synchron is really good to help us go on for some really cool synchro plays, and it's just a really cool tech card to be able to play in the deck. When it's on your side of the field, it does lock you into synchro summoning, but all you have to do is pay 700 life points to special summon this card to your side of the field, which is a really cool effect. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is just a great hand trap. Overall, it's stopping your opponent from touching the deck. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with 2 copies of Cyber Energy Shock. This card is actually Jinzo's attack, and it's really cool to be able to play this card in the build, because if you control a copy of a Jinzo, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. And if it was a trap card, you can apply one of these 2 effects to either negate the effects of one face-up card on the field until the end of the turn, or all Jinzos that you control gain 800 attack points, which is a pretty cool ability. Plus, this card is a quick play, so you can set it to your side of the field, and then flip it during your opponent's turn to be able to pop cards on the field and use it as a disruption. We then play 3 copies of Law of the Cosmos. Law of the Cosmos is really cool in this deck, and is basically Rhoda for the deck, because it has the ability that your opponent can set a trap card directly from their hand or deck. Then, if they did, you get to special summon Jinzo from your deck. And if they did not, you get to add a Jinzo or a monster that specifically lists the card in its text from your deck to your hand, which is a really cool ability. We then play 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is great in this deck as a 3-up, just to help us dig into the deck for the exact cards that we need. We then play 3 copies of E-Telly. E-Telly is really good to be able to summon out our copy of Psychic Processor, and basically makes it so we're playing like 6 copies of Psychic Processor, which is absolutely amazing because we can dig into the deck with our Pot of Prosperity to help us get to our copy of Psychic Processor, Jinzo, or get to our E-Telly, so we can just instantly summon our copy of Psychic Processor from the deck, which is so cool. This card is definitely a 3-up and just helps us get our copy of Psychic Processor on the field, so we can basically banish it to get our copies of Jinzo on the field, which is amazing. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Surprisingly enough, in this deck, let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing a few, and we're going to start off with 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is really good just to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps, while also using this card as a hand trap to be able to get Trap in the Grave so that you can summon out your copy of the Jinzo the Machine Menace. We then play 3 copies of Call of the Haunted. This is a super old school tech for Jinzo to be able to bring Jinzo back from the graveyard to your side of the field and then negate the effects of Call of the Haunted, which is so funny to be able to do. I absolutely love doing that, and just bringing Jinzo back from the graveyard to your side of the field. So with Call of the Haunted is hilarious, and it's just a really cool old school tech card to be able to play alongside Jinzo. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start with a single copy of Jinzo Layered. Jinzo Layered is a great 1-up to be able to play in the deck, because you can detach a material from this card, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and take control of it until the end phase, but it cannot activate its effects or declare an attack directly. And if a trap card is on the field, you can actually tribute a monster, and if you do, destroy one face-up card on the field, which is a pretty cool ability. We then play a single copy of Vampire Sheridan. Vampire Sheridan is just a really good spot removing card, and also it's a great level 6 to be able to make, or rank 6 to be able to make in this deck. Plus, you can use monsters that your opponent controls if you take control of them with cards like Jinzo Layered to be able to use them as level 6s, which is great to be able to make this card. We then play a single copy of Bagooska. Bagooska is just a good option just in case we need to slow down the game. We play a single copy of Typhon because it's a really cool card to be able to make in the deck. Plus, it's basically walking skill drain and it's easy to make. We then play a single copy of Double A Zeus. Double A Zeus is very easy to make on top of any of our XZs, and just a really good card overall to board wipe the field. You play a single copy of Chaos Angel because you can basically climb into this card really easily by putting a level 6 and a level 4 Dark on your side of the field to make this card so monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle, making it even harder for your opponent to deal with cards like Jinzo. Plus, this card spot removes cards off the field. We then play a single copy of Baron de Fleur. Baron de Fleur is also a great 1-up to be able to make in the deck, especially with cards like our Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon to be able to step into this card with our Assault Synchron plus a copy of Jinzo. Plus, this card is a walking negate and a pop. We then play a single copy of Draco Berserker. Draco Berserker is really good in this deck because it just gets massive and also just spot removes monsters off the field. We then play a single copy of Beals because we can make it, and it's one of my favorite synchro monsters. Cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. And when you take damage from an attack involving this card, or from an opponent's effect damage, it gains attack equal to damage you took, which is pretty cool. We then play a single copy of Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. This card is great to be able to make with a copy of Jinzo and Assault Synchron, then bring Assault Synchron back to your side of the field and step into a Barrel on Day Flare, which is just amazing to be able to do. We then play a single copy of Stardust Charge Warrior because it does let you draw a card, and it's level 6, so you can step into one of your XZs using this card, which is really nice. You'll play a single copy of Boral Sword because it is an option to be able to play, and it's a really good card to help us OTK. One copy of Nightmare Unicorn to spin stuff, a single copy of SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight is really good in the deck as a double disruption. You can change it out if you want to for like a Nightmare Phoenix to be able to just pop spells and traps if you don't have SP Little Knight, but if you do have it, do play it because it's great. We then play a single copy of IP Masquerena. IP is just really good to be able to make your copy of Unicorn or SP Little Knight during the opponent's turn, which is just really cool to be able to do. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Jinzo deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's extremely nostalgic, super fun to be able to play, and I absolutely love Jinzo as a boss monster. It's actually one of like the original broken boss monsters, and it's just super cool. So that's going to do for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell on there so you can come part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.